Joining us now with insights on how markets are shaping up today is Greg Katzenellenbogen from Sanlam Private Wealth. Greg, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. So a busy day here at home, but I'd like to start off with what's been playing out in the U.S. with an appeals court ruling that Trump's reciprocal tariffs are illegal. How are you reading this? Will this be a market-moving catalyst, also considering that the tariffs are still in effect as we speak?
Well, although the court said that the tariffs were illegal, they left them in place. So it's difficult while they make a final decision on that. But certainly if that is the case, it will have significant market implications on the tariffs, and then he might have to go back to the drawing board. But it will all depend on the outcome of that case. But it was quite a bit of a shock to see the court declare them illegal.
Really a wait-and-see game yet again, Greg. Let's move over to what's been playing out on the local scene. Bidvest delivering a 5% rise in revenue, but that not filtering through to its bottom line, with annual earnings coming in flat. What have you made of those numbers? I see that markets really not liking it. The last time I checked, that share price was down about 5%.
Yeah, the market didn't like it at all, and in fact one major brokerage house said that the consensus forecasts were too high and have further reduced those. So it was a little bit of a surprise, but it was, they did say in their statement that they're encouraged by things that are happening in the country and about the rail infrastructure, that there'll be public-private participation, and that would get the economy going. But all in all, it was a disappointing set of results.
In the meantime, RCL Food posted a near 30% jump in earnings from continuing operations. These are the first full set of numbers post that unbundling of Rainbow Chicken, and it seems like the group is making gains from its baking division. But in contrast, that sugar unit continues to struggle. What have you made of the dynamics playing out there and those numbers that we got out today?
Well, look, the numbers were quite good, revenue from what they call their continuing operations, and that's baking, sugar, and groceries. That was up 1.8% to 26.5 billion, and their earnings before, the EBITDA earnings, that was up 11% to about 2.5 billion. So that was that was quite positive on that. And across all the operating units, they said they had pretty strong turnaround. But down on the prior year, they said sugar delivered another strong absolute result, which was aided by a good agricultural and manufacturing operational performance. So, they had there's been a lack of consumer demand for sugar that has affected them, but despite all that, they were quite pleased with how the sugar division performed. But going forward, obviously there's a global campaign, for sugar to be reduced in the foods that the public consume.
And let's move over to Sea Harvest. They're really rebounding, also out with numbers today. Earnings, they're up 91%. It's interesting to see what's been playing out in the international divisions, where it's been mixed in terms of its performance. We are seeing some pressure points coming through from Asia, but then on the other hand, you're seeing the Australian business making a comeback back into profitability this period, boosted by improved cost control measures and catches. Let's go through those numbers and your analysis there.
Yes, so look, I mean, when you speak about Asia, that was primarily the abalone business of theirs, and that had a very difficult first half because there was lower demand for abalone out of Hong Kong and China, so the selling prices were reduced sharply. But they delivered solid results, and a lot of that was down to hake. The catch rates on hake were much higher, and that improved the pricing and the efficiency in terms of that. So their revenue was up 34% to 4 billion rand, and their cost of sales increased by 34%, and gross profit was up 33% to 1.2 billion. So I think that was quite a pleasing set of results from Sea Harvest.
Now, earnings aside, Blue Label giving us more deeds when it comes to what it plans to do with its stake in Cell C. The assumption here is that Cell C will be listed on the JSE. Are you seeing value there? Is that, a counter that you would want to, dip your fingers into, considering that we have three other telcos companies listed on the JSE that are faring quite well in the market?
Well, they are, I mean, MTN, Vodacom, but, it's difficult to understand. They do say that Cell C will be eventually listed, but I can't give you an indication of whether, it would be worthwhile investing at this stage. One has to see a lot more of the numbers, but I think this consolidation and that, does help Blue Label in terms of changing debt into equity, and so that should be positive for the Blue Label group.
And before we get into the stock pick segment, online gaming industry really giving Sun International a boost. The group expects earnings to jump by as much as 61.6%. Markets liking that update, that share price up 5%. Is this a counter you like?
Well, I do like Sun International, I think, but look, obviously, in tougher times, people turn to, the online gaming in order to hopefully make some money. You've quite a thing, but their results were very good from that, and it's the market is rewarding them with the share price up 5%, but it was a good set of results.
That was great. Katzenellenbogen from Sanlam Private Wealth.